Hey guys, thanks for tuning into CMTEQ channel in this tutorial 11 on short circuit MVA calculation. So in this tutorial, we're going to look at this circuit breaker, right? This is a circuit breaker and obviously there is a fault here just after the circuit breaker. Now through the calculation of this tutorial, we're going to determine the amount of fault that this circuit breaker is going to be dealing with. How much fault does this circuit breaker must interrupt to protect this entire installation here? Now in the problem statement, as we can see here, they've denoted this circuit breaker as an oil switch, right? An oil switch. Obviously this is an oil circuit breaker, which basically means it's an electrical switch that is immersed inside an oil tanker, right? Just like an oil circuit breaker that will use oil as an arc quenching medium. Now, if you want to know more about the type of circuit breakers used in electrical substation, please watch my tutorial on circuit breakers where we go through some of the most common type of circuit breakers used in electrical substation. Now, obviously, this is an electrical substation where you've got generators connecting through bus bars and you have your reactors and a transformer, right? We're going to get to that just now. Now, this one here is an entire electrical network where you've got a generating substation, okay, located here. Now, this could be a coal power plant and you've got a step-up transformer now. This step-up transformer basically represents a substation, which is known as a generating substation. Basically, an electrical substation that is located near a power station to step up your voltage for transmission line purposes, right? Then you're going to have another substation here that could be your transmission substation. That is where most of the power coming from different power plants are going to meet for synchronization onto your electrical grid, okay? And then here at the end of your transmission line, you're going to have your step down transformer, right? That is now meant to distribute into various distribution transformer that is made for your local power consumers, right? Now regardless of where this substation here is found on your electrical network, now the principle used in trying to find out the fault level that this circuit breaker will be breaking is going to be the same, right? It's going to be the same. The only difference will be the size and the amount of current that must be interrupted in case of a short circuit breaker. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and start solving this tutorial 11 on short circuit MVA. Now, while you are busy subscribing to CMTEQ channel and giving this tutorial a thumbs up, I'm going to go ahead and start reading the problem statement because the principle is very simple. You have to understand the problem that you have in front of you so that you can be able to give a correct solution, right? Now, the only way to understand is to make sure that you read your problem. So we've got the bus bars of a stations are in two sections, A and B, as we can see, separated by a reactor, right? So this is a reactor. Now I've got a nice tutorial that I've done recently on reactors. You have to look at and watch that tutorial. That's going to give you a very good insight on how reactors are. Right now we can see this is a bus bar reactor because the reactor is connected between two bus bars. Now we move on. Connected to section A are 2 times 15 MVA generators of 12% each, right? So this is generator 1 and generator 2. And to section B is a 8 MVA generator of 10% reactance also. Then the reactor is rated at 10 MVA and 15% reactance. So that is just the reactor, the size and capacity of that reactor. A feeder is connected to bus bar A through a transformer rated at 5 MVA and 4% reactance, right? So this is the feeder. Basically, this feeder here could be one of these sub transmission to customers. It could be a distribution line, right? It could be also a transmission line, right? So that is the feeder where the fault is, okay? And then between the feeder and the transformer, there is a circuit breaker here. That's the capacity of the circuit breaker that we want to know, because they're saying here determine the maximum short circuit kVA, three-phase symmetrical, with which an old switch on the outgoing side of the transformer must deal with. Okay, now you can use 1200 MVA as a common base, right, for the entire system. Now notice here they are not giving us the voltages of the generators. Okay, so that is a very important point to note. Now if you find yourself in a situation like this where there are no voltages given, no base voltages, you can choose a base voltage, right? You can choose a base voltage basically for your generators and transmission line, because we can see that from this section all the way here there are no transformers here, right? There are no transformers here. That basically means this entire section is a one base. Okay, so it will have one voltage base only, so you can choose that voltage. And after the transformer here, because this transformer has to be either a step up or step down transformer, which in this case they haven't given us that information, but you can choose another base here that has to be different from this base, or either way you can choose a 1V, right, 1 volt per unit for the entire base, so that you can solve your system like that. Right, now let's move on to the solution. Right, now in order to solve this network, obviously we must convert it into a per unit impedance diagram, which they've given us here a 1200 MVA to use as a common base. So that basically means if this network here was designed with an old MVA of, let's say, 500 MVA, now we need to redesign to find the fault here using a new system, right? A new base MVA. Now I've done a couple of per unit tutorial. If you are not too familiar, please watch those tutorials. They're going to serve you very well. So now moving forward, obviously here we're going to use the common formula used in per unit system, that basically each one of these generators, transformers and reactors, they've got a per unit reactance that is given, right? But we're going to determine a new per unit reactance, or the new impedance, right? Per unit impedance denoted as Z per unit. Okay, new. So the one that is given here is going to be the old one, so that is Z per unit old. Okay, so we're going to multiply it by SBN, which is the new base MVA over the old base MVA. That basically means the 15 MVA of the component itself, or the equipment itself, if we can use that term. Then we multiply it by the quotient of the old voltage over the new voltage square. So that basically what this formula entails. So having said that, computing the value of Z per unit for generator 1, it's then given as 9.6 J per unit. Now notice here we are using 11 kilovolt as the voltage of this generator 1, generator 2 and generator 3. So that basically means this entire network here is going to have a base of 11 kilovolt that I have chosen. Now you can choose a different base voltage, that is up to you, but you have to respect the formula and you're going to get exactly the same value. And the generator 2, we're going to also get exactly the same thing, because remember, these two generators, they've got the same old per unit value. Now generator 3 is going to give me 15 J per unit. Right, now we move on to the next equipment that we need to find the per unit equivalent is the reactor and the transformer. Right, doing for the transformer, we've got an old per unit of 4% per unit reactance, and converting with a new base, we found a Z per unit new for the transformer to be equal to 9.6 J per unit. And we move on for the reactor, which is basically our line per unit impedance there. So that is a 15% per unit reactance for the reactor, and converting it onto a new system, we find a Z per unit new of 18 J per unit. As simple as that. Now we've got all the per unit values for our network here. We can then go ahead and draw our per unit impedance diagram for the entire network. Okay, so that basically means representing now the generator with the equivalent per unit impedance, the reactor, which is part of our line, and generator 3, and lastly the transformer. Right now, from here, all you have to do is basically to reduce your network. Okay, so you know that these two are in parallel, so you basically must compute the parallel of these two generators. So the impedance will then be 4.8 J per unit combined, G1 and G2. And now you've got this fault here. Now remember, the fault is located here just after the transformer that we've already converted our transformer to 9.6. So which means the current coming from generator 1 and generator 2, they're going to flow like this, the fault MVA, and they're going to flow down here to where the fault is. Okay, and also the same thing coming from generator 3 is going to flow here. So we basically effectively having this impedance here in parallel with this impedance. Okay, and the two are now connected in series with this impedance here. So that's how we're going to reduce this network so that we can find the equivalent impedance leading to where the fault is. Okay, so the impedance we're going to find here is what is known as the fault impedance. Okay, so that would be the only thing standing between us, right, and the big fault MVA that is going to develop here when this fault occur. So that is the impedance that we're going to find. So I'm going to stop this tutorial here. I'm going to do part 2, right? I'm going to do part 2 where we basically just going to solve that fault impedance MVA. Please drop a comment on the comment section. If you are able to determine that fault MVA, please drop in the comment section, because from here you should be able to basically find it, because you've got your impedance diagram which has been now reduced to what we have here. So basically just a simple calculus there for you to get that fault MVA. Until next time, stay tuned for part 2 of this tutorial to finish it off.